So I was having a chat with a dear friend the other day, and we are talking about why people can't change and why they get stuck. And obviously, this relates to all of us, me included, because oh my gosh. But we are talking about a dear friend who is just such a beautiful soul. They've got such a big heart, and sometimes though it's like they're a bit lost. And they keep attracting the same kind of drama and people and situations into their life, and it keeps happening. And what it got us to chatting about is why this happens and why we get stuck and why we can't change. And so often it's because A, we're not conscious of the patterns and programs that we've got running, and B, our subconscious mind is just so powerful that it is doing its job so well. It is keeping us safe because that is the survival mechanism it is put in place since we were little tackers or through our ancestral line, this pattern and this program, so that we don't keep making the same, I was going to say mistakes, but not mistakes, but so we can keep ourselves safe. And so that's the power of the subconscious mind, and it helps us at a certain point, and it is there to help us, obviously, but if that pattern is no longer serving us, then it's not really helping us and serving us anymore. And so until we become conscious of these things, then we're not going to be able to change. We can't change. So A, B, C, I'm sort of throwing the alphabet today, but A, we need to be conscious of these things in order to be able to change. And so when people start showing up in our lives and you're getting the same boyfriend again, you're getting the same girlfriend again. They're just a different person, but they've got the same traits. They're bringing up the same thing. Or you're attracting the similar kind of drama into your life through the events that are happening. And you just keep wondering why. It's because all of this is at play and there's stuff there for you to learn and grow from. But until you get conscious of it, it's going to keep happening. So for example, as well, if you were someone who grew up in a family where drama was just normal and that everyone's always yelling at each other all the time and this person's having a biffo with that person and that's just how it is and that's the environment that you grew up in, going into and trying to have a calm, chilled out, awesome relationship which is grounded and flowing and all that sort of stuff is going to feel very unfamiliar, and it's not going to feel quote unquote normal because that isn't what you're used to. So until you become conscious of the fact that that's just how your scenario played out, but that doesn't mean it's the norm across the board, then you're not going to be able to break that pattern. And what also needs to happen, B, I'll throw in a letter, is that once you become conscious of it, are you willing to go from this familiar feeling, because it is a feeling within the body, it's a pattern, it is familiar to you. So even though it's not healthy or creating what it is that you want, your body, it feels familiar to you. That drama, that all that sort of stuff, it feels familiar because that's what you know. So in order to shift into something new and to have that sort of relationship or those situations that you really want and are craving, you've got to go from the familiar shitty stuff to the unfamiliar, uncomfortable, wow, this feels so different zone. It's like it's that whole easy example of if you want to get fit, but you're super unfit, it's going to feel really unfamiliar to go to the gym and to sweat it out and to eat different foods and to be that new version of you, because the old version of you is used to feeling unfit. It's used to grabbing the chockies out of the fridge. It's used to doing those kind of things, and that feels familiar. So even though it's not helpful, it's a familiar pattern. And so people talk about this all the time. So it's going from this familiar zone to this unfamiliar zone, this familiar known to this familiar unfamiliar zone, if I can speak. I do that every video. Bloody hell. But that's the thing. And so are you willing to get uncomfortable? Are you willing to go from familiar, not great, to unfamiliar, uncomfortable, wow, this feels really, really weird? Because it will feel weird when you're shifting. and you want to change, it will feel weird. And that's why so many of us get stuck and can't seem to change, because our body is going back to that familiar pattern where it felt normal. But the thing is, if you want to create something new and you do want to change, first you've got to become conscious of it, be aware of yourself and how you're showing up, and be kind to yourself as well, because bloody hell, you're breaking these patterns and you're becoming y- y- giving yourself love for all these things that you put in place for yourself to survive when you were a youngster or through your ancestral line. Like, these things are big that you're shifting. So give yourself credit there, and then be okay with, okay, this is going to feel weird. This is going to feel unfamiliar. Another one where it can feel really unfamiliar, as well as if you've been a people pleaser for a lot of your life, if you've been that person that, okay, yeah, I'll just make this happen. Yep, I'll do that. Yep, just leave it with me. I got it. Blah, blah, blah. And everything is, you've always taken on that role. When you step into that, okay, I'm not doing that anymore, and that doesn't mean you do not love people. Of course you do. But you know the old saying, like, if your cup isn't full, you're going to be pretty shithouse for everyone else anyway. So in order to put yourself first, you're going to have to set some boundaries. And sometimes it can be really uncomfortable and it feels unfamiliar, because you're navigating that whole, if you were a people pleaser, you're navigating that whole, well, am I being nice? Is this not? But no, you are. You're being nice and kind to yourself. And so to be able to do that, it's going to feel unfamiliar. And for those who respect and understand that you're doing the inner work and that is part of your growth, it'll be fine. And for those that are used to leaning on you probably way too much, it's going to be unfamiliar and uncomfortable for them as well. So there's adjustments all round. And so when you are changing, you're not only you're changing frequencies, you're changing your vibration, your frequency, and you're changing the way the dynamics play out around you. And so that will feel weird. It will feel unfamiliar, and it will feel uncomfortable at times. But if you can sit with it and be okay with that and know that that's just how it's changing, and the more that you do it, that the more familiar it will become, you will be able to change, and you will be able to stand in that a lot easier, more and more. So yeah, I just really wanted to chat about that, because it's such a big thing, and I think we don't give ourselves credit for how big of a deal it can sometimes be. And the thing is, when you become conscious of this, when you become, and we're forever becoming conscious of things. There's so much that we are unconscious of. Other people can see it in us so much easier sometimes as well. And we can see it in other people. Like, we can see their patterns better than they can see theirs sometimes. But that's the whole beauty of, like, learning and getting to know yourself. That's why they say know thyself, because the more that you know who you are and how you show up and all that sort of stuff, you are able to create and step into your power and make better decisions for yourself. And yeah, when you want to change and you want to set boundaries and you want to create less drama and more stability, more whatever it is that you want to create and what you want to embody, it's going to be unfamiliar for a bit. So the question, I think, is then, are you willing to feel uncomfortable? Are you willing to stand in the unfamiliar so that it can become familiar? So yeah, I think I will just leave that little ditty there for today. I hope that it has served you in some way and has got you thinking. And as always, I'd love to hear from you as well too. If you've got any comments to share on this, please feel free to share in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And if you are not on my weekly newsletter yet that I send out at the start of every week, most weeks anyway, it is free. I will pop that in the description so that you can sign up to that and you will hear about anything first in there. First, second, whatever it might be. So I'll pop that in there. And if you like this video, stick around. I've got another one popping up on the screen now that I hope you will like too. And as always, just thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to catching you in another video soon.